Be thankful basketball is back. Hello and welcome from the Wade Houston Tip-Off Classic, live from the KFC Yum Center on ESPN3. I'm Ken Taylor along with Jeff Greer. And Jeff, day two of this tournament. We're going to see two teams looking for their first win here in the 2020-21 season, and we're just thankful that we get some basketball.
Oh man, you have no idea. I was thinking all day yesterday exactly that. I couldn't believe I was watching it then. And I'm so happy to be with you today, Ken, watching it yet again here in Louisville.
The Evansville Purple Aces with a 20-game losing streak in purple here, facing off against Prairie View A&M. The Panthers 0-1 this season after a close loss to Little Rock the other day, but the two-time defending champions of the SWAC. And we are off and running, and the tip won by Prairie View. And here we go. So we take a look at the Prairie View starting five. Linnell Henry with a pass awry, goes out of Evan. Coleman picks it up, drives in, he lays it up and in, and Coleman on the board quickly. Actually, that was Noah Friederking who gets the quick basket for Evansville. Noah Friederking getting the start for the Aces today.
That's a big factor for today's game. They had 24 turnovers against Little Rock. Prairie View, you got to take care of the basketball or do what they just did, Ken, and hit threes. Three
by Jeremiah Gambrell, the Western Kentucky transfer. Jax Levitch with the ball. You Louisville fans will remember that name, a local product who's played at IU, Purdue, Fort Wayne. He played at UNC Asheville, and now at Evansville. He had 3 points the other night, a three at the buzzer in the first half as Evansville lost its openers. We take a look at their starting five. Evan Coleman and Shamar Givens each had 10 points the other night in their loss to Louisville, and a quick foul out front. And that is going to be on Juwan Daniels, his first, team first on the Panthers.
You should expect to see a lot of fouls today on the Prairie View A&M side. They love to pressure the ball. Coach Byron Smith refers to himself as a poor man's Rick Pitino. He wants his guys highly conditioned to press people. And Todd Licklider here in Evansville, they've got a team that didn't turn the ball over a whole lot last season. But this Evansville team will be looking at a very different defense from Prairie View than what they saw against Louisville on Wednesday. One's a little bit more aggressive than the other in the way they defend the full floor.
It has been 343 days since Evansville won a game. What we're taking right now, we're seeing exactly what our little delay is here. With 19:08 left here, checking the shot clock after the foul called again on Juwan Daniels, the first foul on Prairie View. Prairie View with the close game. You did it, Jeff, the other day against Little Rock, a game that they led in the second half against a Little Rock team that a lot of people think is an NCAA tournament team.
Yeah, it was actually really entertaining game. Both teams needed some time to settle down, stop turning the ball over, but hit a lot of shots. Prairie View last year just shot 30% from three, but they bagged 8 against Little Rock. It was a fun game. A great way to start this event.
Shamar Givens for 3. He had 10 the other night. He and Coleman, the leading scorers for Evansville. He hits the triple to give them an early 5-3 lead over the Panthers.
Both teams coming into this season really needing to shoot the ball better. So Evansville will be happy to be making some buckets here early on.
Fate Williams had 18 points in their opener. He misses the jumper. Ball comes off, and Friederking grabs it for the Purple Aces. Their last win, December 21st of last year over Murray State. They started last year 9-4, Jeff, one of the most talked about programs in the country after beating #1 Kentucky in Rupp Arena, and then the wheels kind of fell off as we see Evan Coleman with the triple.
Yeah, they had Walter McCarty at the helm, and he was relieved of his duties after some misconduct allegations. Todd Licklider, a guy who coached at Butler, went to the Sweet 16 twice, stepped in as the interim coach after January 21st. And he's a guy who's won a lot of games as a coach. He played high school in Indianapolis, so they do have an experienced leader. They just need some time, I think, to grow as a program.
And another 3 threes going wild here. Juwan Daniels, he had a couple the other night in their opener. 8-6 in the early going. Evansville with the early lead. Licklider, a guy who was there kind of from the beginning at Butler. You mentioned it, played for his dad in high school and was there under Barry Collier and Thad Matta at Butler. And you got to believe that maybe that's kind of what he hopes to do here is a foul up front. That'll be the second on Prairie View. And let's see, was that on Daniels?
Let's see, missed it here. It was on Fate Williams.
That'll be on Fate Williams, his first, the team's second.
But yeah, Licklider's an interesting guy. He does have that history, 131 games in 6 years with Butler, so you know he can coach.
The trap, they swing it around, and guess what, Jeff? How about another three-pointer, Trey Hall for three?
Count them up, Kent. We're already at 5 here in the first 3 minutes. Both teams coming into this season, like I said, they wanted to shoot the ball better from distance, and they're getting their answers here early on.
Evansville off to a hot start. How hot? Well, they haven't missed a shot yet. They're 4 for 4 from the field. This is a team that the other night against Louisville in their opener shot 30% from the field and just 23% from three, and they're 3 for 3 right now from distance in the early going.
They had a really hard time penetrating, getting into the paint against Louisville, as you would expect. I mean, Louisville's a long, Power 5 athletic team. Prairie View is going to press more. They'll be more spread out. And Evansville has already done a good job breaking that pressure today. Levitch
tries to go to the basket, but he is fouled. That foul will be on Darrell Roberts. That'll be the 4th team foul on Prairie View already in the early going, less than 4 minutes into this one. Number 11, Dwayne Cox, checks in as Fate Williams heads to the bench. He's still scoreless after an 18-point effort in their opener.
Byron Smith hoping to find his options in this rotation. See how deep their bench is behind him there. Look at all those guys ready to check back in. They want to rotate up to 10 guys, and you really have to when you play the type of pressure defense that Prairie View does. The problem is they're also going to foul a lot, so you've got to make sure you have options off the bench.
Shamar Givens to Jax Levitch over in the corner. How about another three? And that was Frieder King. And quickly, Evansville just starting this game on fire. All 5 of their shots, 4 for 4 from 3, and they lead 14-6 early on, which is a little bit surprising.
Well, Prairie View, by giving up some space the way they do, they have to always try to scramble defensively, but Evansville is getting a bunch of corner threes. That's the highest percentage three-pointer. It's what every coach really wants if you can get a spot-up shooter in the corner to hit them. Of course, you still have to make them, but 4 threes from 4 different guys so far, Kent. That's a pretty good indication that Evansville is looking very comfortable offensively in the half-court set.
They're making the extra pass. They're getting good open looks. They already have 4 assists. They had 6 in the entire game the other night. Givens drives down, kicks it off. Almost another 3, but when he can hit the 3, he gets some open shots inside, and that's exactly what happens there as Frieder King scores in the paint.
Really good pass there, and Frieder King had the seal on his man, an easy turnaround lay-in for Evansville. Very confident offensively so far.
I think we're going to get a foul on Trey Hall down on the baseline, but how about the Evansville Purple Aces? They are on fire. 6 for 6 from the field, 4 for 4 from 3, a 10-point lead in the early going here at the KFC Yum Center. Welcome back to the KFC Yum Center, where the Evansville Purple Aces are on fire. Jeff Greer, they cannot miss.
They're getting good looks, too. You mentioned it, Kent. Great ball movement. Finding guys open in the corner. That's the shot you want. And against a Prairie View team that is going to just throw bodies at you, trying to get deflections, get steals, Evansville is, 1, doing a great job getting the ball into their half-court sets, and then 2, moving it and spacing the floor. But don't sleep on their defense either, Ken. Evansville already has forced 3 turnovers. They're getting out and scoring 7 points off turnovers. This is a Prairie View team that turned the ball over 24 times against Little Rock the other day. We know they've got 2 guards who they're hoping will receive waivers to be able to play, including former Nebraska standout Cam Mack. And as of now, Byron Smith talking a lot about basically point guard by committee, ball handling by committee. So kudos to Evansville for challenging Prairie View's ball handling early on.
Number 12, Fate Williams, had 4 turnovers the other night himself. Offensive rebound inside. Henry can't convert. Finally comes out. This is Jeremiah Gambrell, the Western Kentucky transfer, who hit a 3 early in the game. Kicks it over to Darrell Roberts. Gets the pick from Henry. Trying to drive on Jax Levitch, and he gets right by Jax Levitch and scores in the paint and draws the foul.
Darrell Roberts was a big-time threat off the bench against Little Rock. Hit 3 threes. This is exactly the type of kid that Byron Smith was looking for. He needs to know and was hoping to find out in this tournament who were going to be some of his other guys who emerge. And Darrell Roberts showing there with a strong take to the basket after his performance on Wednesday. He could be a scorer for them, Kent.
His free throw misses as he cannot complete the three-point play. Trey Hall with the rebound for the Purple Aces. Those 4 three-pointers by 4 different Evansville players here in the early going. A team that shot 6 for 26 from 3 in their opener, a 79-44 loss to Louisville. Hall drives, and that's going to be another foul. That is going to be the 7th foul already on Prairie View.
Yeah, that's a high foul defense, and I don't want to make any assumptions, but I do think it's going to be difficult for a team like Prairie View that wants to play the pace that they're playing to keep doing it every day, every other day in this tournament. That's going to be really difficult as you see a bunch of different teams. You're getting guys with tired legs more likely to reach and foul.
That was actually their 16th foul, but the second on Fate Williams. You saw him head to the bench. He was their leading scorer in their opener with 18 points, and he sits down with just under 15 minutes to play here with 2 fouls. Different coaches that handle it different ways, but we'll see if we see him for the remainder of this first half. Nice drive up and in by Dwayne Cox. Prairie View seems to have figured out the last couple possessions, Jeff, that they can get to the basket.
Yeah, they'd be a little bit more aggressive attacking the basket. That's what Byron Smith wants. He wants that driving offense, attack the rim. They really tried last year and did a really good job of getting a lot of putbacks. They got to the foul line a lot to make up for shooting just 30% from 3. So they know they've got some drivers on this team. But defensively, they've got to figure out a way to stay clean.
Maybe stop fouling. That was their 7th foul already. So Evansville in the bonus with just under 14 minutes to play here in the first half. Levitch misses the first free throw, so he doesn't get a second. Drive there. Geraldo Briscoe unable to convert, and here comes Evansville. They have missed a shot now, 6 of 7 from the field, 4 of 5 from 3. Jamar Gibbons gets in the lane and kicks it over for another wide open 3. That one went in and out.
All set up there by Gibbons, though. Great ball handling, splits. The little trap off the pick and roll. That's what having a good ball handler will do for your offense. He can get through things like that and find people.
Yeah, great look for Gilgis Alexander, but he went halfway down and then came back out. And then in the lane, it's Darrell Roberts who hits the little floater for Prairie View as they're getting back in this now, down just 16-12. Levitch gets in the lane, another foul. He'll go to the line this time for 2 shots, and that'll be the 2nd foul on Roberts.
Seeing Prairie View switch to a little zone there, trying to stop the bleeding defensively. This is not what Byron Smith wants his team to look like defensively. But got to credit Evansville. You got a nice recipe to compete with such a high pressure defense. You've got good handlers, you're making good passes, and you're moving off the ball. That really makes it difficult to be such a high turnover creating defense. And the result is a lot of fouls and a lot of good looks and a couple of trips to the free throw line for Evansville.
Levitch hits the second of 2 free throws. This is an Evansville team the other night was also just 10 of 21 from the line in that loss to Louisville. A deep 3 for Prairie View by Jock Hughes, who did not miss a shot the other night, comes off. Levitch gets the rebound, but the foul is going to be on. Is it on Levitch down there?
I think it's on Levitch. I'm not sure. I saw a foul there, Kent. I'll be honest with you. He's diving after the loose ball. And I don't know.
Collision going for the loose ball. He had the ball.
He's diving after a loose ball there.
Jax, I think I agree with you. You saw what he thought of that call there. That was his second foul, so he heads to the Evansville bench.
You could hear Todd Lickliter was certainly not happy with that call either. And look, I mean, got to remember we're all rusty here, so maybe we'll let a couple of early ref slips slide as they're trying to get comfortable.
It's been 8 months since anybody's done this.
It's been a while.
Gage Bobe in the game for Evansville as well. He's rocking the headband.
It's a good look. I like that.
Alex Matthews to Thomasai Gilgis Alexander, younger brother of Shea Alexander, the former Kentucky star, current Oklahoma City Thunder guard. And inside, we're going to get an offensive foul on former John Harden star Alex Matthews. Well, Evansville's missed a few shots now, but they still lead Prairie View A&M 17-12 in the early going.
February 15th, happy crafting.
Welcome back to the KFC Yum Center and the Wade Houston Tip-Off Classic. They're in a bubble in downtown Louisville. These teams staying at the Galt House. They don't even have to go outside to come over to the arena. 9 teams, 7 games in 4 days. And this bubble, though, Jeff, kind of extends for a little over a week. Wade Houston honored with the Classic being named after him, one of the first 3 African-American players to sign with Louisville. Lettered from 1963 to 66, played in 2 postseason competitions, and of course was an assistant coach at the University of Louisville, hired in 1975 after leading Male High School to a state championship with Darrell Griffith and Bobby Turner. He was an assistant, Jeff, on the 2 national championship teams in 1980 and 1986, and probably the lowest that it's ever been buried in his bio, the father of Allen Houston, the former Ballard High star.
Yeah, longtime right-hand man for Denny Crum. But what a story coming out of Tennessee. And I actually wrote a story about the 3 players integrating Louisville basketball last year. And they took a lot of pride in it, but at the time, they didn't think about doing any of that. They didn't think they were pioneers or anything. They just wanted to play basketball. It was a really interesting story.
Well, and at Louisville, opened the door for just a few years after that, the likes of Wes Unseld and Butch Beard, and then all the great players that have played at the university, including one of the guys I mentioned, the greatest to ever play at Louisville, Darrell Griffith, who played for Wade in high school. We'll hear from Wade Houston. He'll sit down with Jody Demling at halftime here of our broadcast. Evansville, a 17-12 lead, just about 11 and a half minutes left in the first half, and that is Lavelle Henry, who scores in the paint for Prairie View as they put together a little run here to get back in this game, and it helps when Evansville misses some shots.
Evansville hasn't scored in more than 4 minutes. It's been a big difference maker that Prairie View seems to have stepped up its pressure a little bit, but they're also getting good shots on offense. They're getting into the lane, and that has helped them get a little bit more confident.
Trey Hall guarded by Henry, and he's going to pull the trigger on that jump shot. It comes off, and rebound grabbed by Jeremiah Gambrell. He'll start the offense going to Fate Williams, the leading scorer for Prairie View in their opener, on their bench with 2 quick fouls. And there is a deep 3 by Darrell Roberts, and all of a sudden we are tied.
Darrell
11-1 run.
Look at that range, confidence. Big fella coming in this season hoping to be a bench scoring option for Prairie View, and that's exactly what he's done. He's already closing in on his 11 points he had the other night with 7 here in the first half.
Trey Hall can't get that one to go. A rebound for Henry, and look at this. Prairie View has the ball, tie game on an 11-1 run. Evansville could miss a shot. Now they can't hit one. They've missed 5 straight.
Tough shot.
Spin down the lane, not exactly. Roberts can't get it to go. Wasn't the best shot he's taken today. Spin down the lane, and how about I just go get an easy one?
Trey Hall has been a nice player for them. He had a solid game against Louisville, as well as you can when you lose by 35, but hit 2 threes, long, step out a little bit, but also shows he can get in the lane for you.
I think that was Ian Enarunu, wasn't it? Yeah, I think it was who got in the lane. With his orange shoes. Here's Trey Hall, though. He can get to the basket too, Jeff.
That was a big time. Thank you to Trey for making me look a little bit better on this.
And he draws a foul.
Really nice take with his right hand. Connecticut native, really confident. And those are a couple of plays that help your offense. After things slow down, you start feeling like maybe things are changing quite significantly as Prairie View goes on that 11-1 run. So you got to get the ball into the hands of your guys who are confident attacking the basket. Try to get something a little bit easier, closer in. That was a big thing that they were missing. I realized things went south pretty quickly against Louisville, but you've got to be able to get into the lane and get paint touches and force defenses to contract a little bit if you want your offense to work.
That was met with little resistance inside as Juwan Daniels scores. 22-19. Hall completed the three-point play. By the way, that foul on that Hall drive was on Linnell Henry. That's his second personal. So he and Fate Williams both with 2 fouls.
One more to the double bonus too, Kent. With all this time left in the first half, it's a lot of free points potentially for Evansville.
Roberts misses. Coolman the rebound, and the foul is on Coolman. Second time we've seen an Evansville foul trying to get a defensive rebound.
That you could see why Linnell Henry was the best offensive rebounder for Prairie View A&M last year. Plays just as sort of a positionless big guy, but he is relentless in his pursuit of the basketball out of his area, trying to rebound it, especially on the offensive glass, and Coolman having to basically box him out from baseline to baseline, and it's where hustle rewards you and gets you a foul call.
Coolman heads to the Evansville bench. That's his second personal foul, the 16th foul on the Purple Aces. And it's going to be a turnover on a screen there. I believe that foul was on Juwan Daniels. Yes, that'll be his second personal foul, and their 10th team foul. See him inside battling for position with Levitch.
A little too handsy, Kent. A little too handsy. Just can't use your hands like that to try to jostle for position.
16 fouls, and we haven't even played 12 minutes yet here. Prairie View pushing out the pressure a little bit. Givens still able to get in the lane. He's difficult to stay in front of. Frieder King the turnover. Matthews to Frieder King. His triple, no. There's Trey Hall inside. Misses the easy one. Got the offensive rebound though. I believe that went out of bounds off of Gambrell. So
you can see why they like Trey Hall at Evansville. Give kudos to the big fella jumping on that pogo stick, chasing after offensive rebounds, and earns his team a free possession with all that effort.
Get game ready with uninterrupted radio on Pandora.
Welcome back to the KFC Yum Center, and let's get to know your foe. The Prairie View A&M Panthers, located in Prairie View, Texas, about 45 miles or so northwest of Houston, a member of the Southwestern Athletic Conference. They have won the SWAC the last 2 years in the regular season. Of course, last year the tournament was cut short, but they do have 2 SWAC tournament championships. And Jeff, 1 NCAA tournament berth back in 2019 in the first 4 they played in Dayton, a loss to Fairleigh Dickinson.
2019 feels like it was about 35 years ago, Kent, doesn't it? But the winningest HBCU program in the last 2 years of college basketball, and that's a big credit to Byron Smith. They're really happy with the way that they've been able to find talented players and keep getting better. They had the SWAC Player of the Year last year in Devontae Patterson, who just signed an Exhibit 10 contract with the Dallas Mavericks. So they're very excited about the talent they have, even though they lost. There's 6 key contributors from last year, 6 seniors. They feel like they still keep getting enough talent that they can keep being competitive, and that's the sign of a program that is catching a real rhythm each year when you can do that and not worry as much about losing guys.
And comfortable playing in their home whites, as well as a little deflection there by Daniels, and Evansville will retain possession. But Prairie View's won 27 straight home games. That's the second longest streak in the nation. Only number 1 Gonzaga has won more in a row at home at 39. So that's pretty impressive. But, you know, for these schools, you can have a great regular season, but it's all about what you do in your tournament, because if you don't win it, you're not going to the big games.
Absolutely. And that's why they were excited to come to this.
Givens can't beat, or I guess he did beat the shot clock. I thought I heard that before he shot, didn't you?
I agree. But that's why they wanted to come to this tournament, Prairie View. It gives them an early feel for playing every other day, what it's like to play in your conference tournament. You play every day in that. If you get to the NCAA tournament, you have such a quick turnaround when you're trying to get ready for those games. So this is a real good early environment and a good test for them as they're trying to grow a new group with all those guys, like I said, who have moved on after this past season.
And a quick turnaround for the Crews here in the KFC Yum Center. This is the first of 3 games on the day. Coming up at 4 o'clock, Seton Hall and Louisville. Kevin Willard, the former Louisville assistant, bringing the Pirates into town. And then UNC Greensboro and Little Rock. That'll be a fantastic game. 2 potential NCAA tournament teams coming up tonight at 7 o'clock. All the games in the bubble in the KFC Yum Center.
Excited for that one, Ken.
Nice little baseline drive. Matthews pretty much gave up the baseline, and Gambrell was happy to take it. He drove right by him, got all the way to the basket, and the result is going to be another foul on Evansville and a couple free throws here for Juwan Daniels.
Juwan Daniels had a heck of a game against Little Rock. 14 points, 7 rebounds, and he's showing, just like Darrell Roberts, that he can be a guy who they rely on for a lot of things. Very active on the offensive glass. A nice athletic build to him. So it's just a player that they feel like they can plug into their rotation and get a lot out of right away.
16-10 early advantage for the Panthers on the boards. And Jeff, you mentioned it, but I guess we have already our first major upset in college basketball early on Friday, the day after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, Virginia, which just the mention of Virginia here in Louisville kind of gets everybody spooked a little bit thinking about them, but lost today to San Francisco by a point, and that is a very different result from their big win they had on Wednesday. So kind of a surprising turn of events, but I guess, Kent, we should probably get used to that in college basketball as everybody's just trying to figure out what's normal again.
61-60 the final in that one. A little steal, and Dwayne Cox takes it all the way to the basket to give Prairie View a 23-22 lead. And a little whistle there, quick timeout.
Evansville's got to figure out what was working in the counter to the counter here, because Prairie View was not turning them over. They were fouling a lot.
They were giving up wide open shots.
They started, Evansville started 6 of 6 from the field, but in the last segment, I would say the last 5 to 8 minutes of actual game time, Evansville, 2 of its last 13 scoring drought nudging 3 minutes of their last 6 now, and just 8 of 19 from the field after starting 6 of 6. So they've got to get a little bit more confidence. You just saw there, that's what Prairie View wants to do. They want to turn you over and immediately get in their transition offense. And if they start getting that going, and they've already done their job to get back into this game, that is a warning sign for Evansville going forward.
Okay, so we have a technical foul because number 30 there. You see number 30. Figure out who he is. He's not on the book. He's not on our roster. He checked into the game, and Jeff, that's illegal. You can't just throw anyone into the game.
Yeah, that's a good way to get yourself. Yeah, that's a good way to get yourself a technical foul. One of the many bizarre moments here, but Prairie View A&M has a lengthy roster. That is for sure. Denario Edgar, I believe that he's listed as number 21, but he's wearing number 30 today.
He's got a different number. So Denario Edgar, and then, hey, how about this? Another foul out front, and that is on Girota Briscoe. That's going to be his second personal foul.
They're adding up for
just about everybody
here.
too, yeah. Givens will go to the line.
We've got 5 guys with 2 fouls in this first half.
Givens hit 2 of 3 free throws in their opening loss to Louisville. He knocks this one down, and a couple more subs. Jeremiah Gambrell checks back in. Fate Williams and Linnell Henry both with 2 personal fouls on the bench, but nice rebound inside and powers it back up.
Ian Anaruna, he's showing he's got a little touch inside. The Dutch big man.
Couple points in the paint for them.
He and his brother play with the Dutch national team. His brother Tristan plays for Kansas.
Henry to Daniels, but Daniels couldn't handle that pass. Givens, he's so low to the ground, he was able to just take that thing right away, and we're going to get an offensive foul on Givens.
It's a rare turnover from him. He actually led the Missouri Valley last year in assist-to-turnover ratio. Typically takes care of the ball really well, but just looks like, extended that little chicken wing. You can't do that. Easy way to get an offensive foul.
On review, that is a fantastic call, and you also can't stand out of bounds, which is what Jeremiah Gambrell was doing there as he caught that pass. So Evansville's kind of regrouped here after they started off hot, then they were struggling, and now they've retaken the lead here at 26-23. Purple Aces shooting 45% from the field. After that 4-for-4 start from 3, just 4 for 10 now, and 9 for 20 from the field after hitting, I believe they hit their first 6 shots.
Got to get back to doing what they were doing early, driving, spreading the floor.
Making the extra pass. Trey Hall will try the 3 and can't get it to go. There's Dwayne Cox again. Fate Williams, 18 points in their opener, but he has been on the bench for most of this half with the 2 fouls. Nice offensive rebound, but Miles Washington can't get it to go. Met with some resistance there in the paint.
Evansville was one of the better defensive rebounding teams in the country last year, even with all their struggles. Done a good job of being active the last few minutes after Prairie View started with 10 offensive rebounds in this first half.
Another offensive foul, and this one is on Anaruna. Bobe checks back in the game. That'll be the I believe that was that the first foul on Anaruna?
Yes, sir. First foul for him. 9 overall for Evansville. Both teams, Prairie View already in the double bonus. Evansville getting close.
Yeah, we've only had 20 fouls so far called in this one. Henry kicks it over to Daniels in the corner. His 3 misses. Hall trying to get the rebound, and that will be the 3rd foul. I think they're going to call the 3rd foul on Henry inside on the push-off.
It's called, yeah, for extending the arm, and that's a big blow. They've got Fate Williams and Linnell Henry both on the bench in what we would call first half foul trouble. Fate Williams and Linnell Henry both were supposed to be kind of the rocks of this team, coming back with a lot of experience, expected to be their leaders. And Linnell Henry has been banging down low quite a bit in this first half, but when you bang, you're likely to get yourself in foul trouble, especially when you're really the only big guy on the floor. Prairie View likes to space the floor with their lineup. And how about this guy, Ian Enaruna, having a nice first half for Evansville.
Getting some quality minutes out of him, and he hits one of the 2 free throws. Henry with the 3 first half personal fouls. You don't see that often because a lot of coaches will just sit a guy down after 2 fouls. We saw it in the Louisville game the other night, though. David Johnson picked up 3 first half fouls for Louisville.
It's all about trust. Tracks that now on Ken Pomeroy's website. If a coach puts guy back in with 2 fouls, it tells you a lot about what the coach thinks of him. Linnell Henry was basically given the chance to stay out there. Same with David Johnson. They trust their players.
Oh, Hall with a great look inside to Matthews. He puts it up and in, and Evansville had been one of their last 8 from the field, but it helps to get an easy one right down by the bucket, and the freshman puts it up and in.
Just a casual 7-0 run here, Kent, to get yourselves back up 6. Good passes like that help.
Oh, they're going to call the block down low. It looked like he was in good position. I don't know if he was in the restricted area. We'll have to. How about Trey Hall showing off his passing skills as he dishes to Alex Matthews under the basket, and Evansville finds itself back in front.
Feed your happiness.
The Evansville Purple Aces from just down the road in Evansville, Indiana. They play in the Missouri Valley Conference, their 26th season in the MVC, and they have 5 NCAA tournament berths, 1982, 89, 92, 93, and 99. But this particular Evansville team, you think 2020's been bad for you, Jeff? I know you had your trip to Europe cut short. People have had struggles all over the world. This Evansville Purple Aces squad, they have not won a basketball game in all of 2020, riding a 20-game losing streak that dates back to December 21st of 2019, one that they look like they could very well snap today as they lead Prairie View A&M 29-23 with 3:38 left to play here in the first half.
Absolutely. They've come back. They started out so hot, had kind of a rough patch in the middle of the half, but they've come back strong here to finish the last few minutes of this first half out. Prairie View is not making anything easy with their high-pressure defense, but Evansville has adjusted well. But you talk about a program with a lot of history in Indiana, obviously, where basketball is king. They've got they're the 5-time Division II national champions back in the 60s
Dino
and
Gaudio
70s.
scouting it out there, Jeff.
Yeah, got to pay attention. Kristen Cunningham with him, Taylor Barnett. Louisville paying close attention to Prairie View here. I think Prairie View is a good matchup for the teams in this tournament to make sure that they know they can play against a team that presses a lot.
Juwan Daniels steps to the line. We've had 22 personal fouls in this first half. He gets the Panthers back within 5. Evansville, though, you mentioned all the tradition. They play in the Ford Center, which is kind of like a mini KFC Yum Center. Jerry Sloan, Chris Mack among the former Purple Aces.
That's right. Jim Cruz, the former coach, went on to St. Louis.
Yes, Jim Cruz, a member of the undefeated Indiana team in 1976 under Bob Knight.
So they love their basketball, and they're in such a great conference in the Missouri Valley. Got much improved facilities, partnership with Nike, so I'm sure they feel like they've got the facilities and then a coach in Todd Licklider who can help them improve and get past this really rough patch in their program's history.
Panthers turn up the pressure a little bit coming out of that timeout, but Evansville able to handle it. Now under 10 on the shot clock. Gilgis Alexander tried to do something with it, but he was not successful.
Trying to do a little too much there on the ball. You gotta See if you can pass your way out of those traps.
Damari Parrish drives baseline. His pull-up jumper off the glass comes off, and Matthews grabs it for the Purple Aces. Evansville, 2 of its last 10 from the field. Both teams have actually struggled to score here in the last couple minutes. Trey Hall will try the 3, and it comes off.
Evansville, I want something getting to the basket, getting the lane a little bit more. They were doing it well for a while, but they've gotten away from it. Just one of their last 7 here, Kent.
You can hear him counting down the shot clock. That's nice offensive rebound, up and in, and he'll get a shot at a 3-point play. That is Gerota Briscoe.
Gerota Briscoe showing off a little timing, a little muscle inside. Transfer from Central Wyoming Community College, showing why they recruited him. Long arms and good to finish through the contact for Prairie View. They've been really active on the offensive glass. They're never going to be, and this is according to Byron Smith, look, they're not going to be a big team. They're never going to be that way. They're going to be athletic. They're going to play with a ton of pressure. But even if they aren't the tallest team in the country or close to it, they are going to be very active on the offensive glass, and they've got 11 offensive rebounds here in this first half.
Briscoe unable to complete the 3-point play. The 6'8" junior originally from St. Petersburg, Florida. And here is Givens for Evansville, still holding on to what appears to be a tenuous 2-point lead, and some more pressure and almost a steal. But Briscoe unable to come up with it. Evansville now with the ball just behind half court and 18 seconds on the shot clock.
Well, Kent, if I can, I'll give a shout out or a memory here to Tommy Heinsohn. Rest in peace to Tommy Heinsohn, but he would have given a Tommy point there to Gerota Briscoe for back-to-back efforts, the deflection and the offensive rebound. Heinsohn, of course, the Celtics legend, longtime color guy for their TV broadcasts, recently passed away. But I loved hustle, and I love it there. Gerota Briscoe showing what Prairie View is all about.
That was another offensive foul on Givens, I believe, or did they just call it? No, that's his second personal foul, and they've both been at the offensive end as well, which could be an issue for Todd Licklider. They don't want to get him in foul trouble because actually that's his 3rd personal foul. So now we have 2 players with 3 personal fouls in the first half, and you could argue that Givens may mean more to Evansville than just about any other player they have.
Absolutely, he's their floor general. He's not a big-time shooter, but he is a guy who really handles the ball well, and they need him on the floor to help against this Prairie View A&M pressure. So you see the standings there, Kent. That's a sign of respect that the other folks in the SWAC have for Prairie View A&M, that they could lose 6 seniors, their top 5 scorers, and still get picked to finish 3rd in the league. That tells you what they think of Byron Smith and the guys they still have on this roster.
The back-to-back regular season SWAC champs. Both teams easily in the double bonus. 12 personal fouls on each team here with under 2 minutes to play in the first half of game number 1 of 3 in the KFC Yum Center on this Friday. And Damari Parrish gets in the lane and puts it off the glass to tie this one at 29.
Tough finish, too, with his right hand on the left side, getting a little kiss.
How about Givens staying in the game? He's got 2 offensive fouls. He gets all the way to the basket and scores.
The shifty, diminutive little fella getting into the lane and finishing in the trees.
The quick timeout by Todd Licklider. I wonder if they just realized they left him in the game. Wait, he's still in the game. Get him out. 3 personal fouls. He goes right to the basket and scores. Smallest guy on the court.
That is actually a real possibility that they didn't notice that he was on the floor here.
Is he staying? Seriously, wait a minute. He's got 3 fouls. You can't leave him in the game. I mean, it's one thing to leave him in with 2, but 3, you don't see that often.
I fouled out in a JV game in 10th grade in the first half, Kent, so it's possible.
Did you? Okay.
So it's something we should all strive to do once in our lives.
Boy, it's like he knew it, too. He's like, I need to get another basket here before they realize I'm still in the game and take me out. But he gives Evansville a 2-point lead at 31-29, and now Givens is comfortably taking his spot on that Evansville bench for the rest of the half.
Key minute and a half here for Evansville. They don't have a true point guard on the floor.
Three is good there by Jeremiah Gambrell, and Prairie View is back in front. Frieder King tries the three, and he hits it now. And we've got an injury down low, and that's Darrell Roberts. He's holding his lower back. I didn't see the collision.
I think he was trying to draw the offensive foul there and landed hard on his tailbone. Holding what looks like his hip, maybe lower back, yeah, but
I think Byron Smith wanted the offensive foul.
But how about both of these teams, Kent? I know Evansville went cold for a little bit here, but combined 9 of 23 from three here in the first half. Neither team shot it very well from three last year, just 30% between the two of them. But their offenses obviously work so much better when they can hit the long ball.
And that was Evansville's first three since the early going. And block inside and comes up with it. Now into the paint and the dish, and that's going to be an offensive foul on Gilgeous Alexander. Just trying to do a little too much there.
Yeah, just extends the forearm, and they're calling that here in the first half. It's happened a bunch of times. Yeah. So if you're a player and you're paying any sort of attention to this game, you got to realize you've got to figure out a way to create space for yourself without extending that arm, because you are going to end up getting the whistle against you.
One final possession here for Prairie View A&M. Down to Linnell Henry, back into the game with his 2 personal fouls for this final offensive possession. Paris to Gambrell. He just fires it up, and Henry gets the offensive rebound. Back out to Gambrell. He gets another shot, and he doesn't hit anything. Trey Hall comes down with it, and Evansville will head to the locker room 20 minutes away from snapping their 20-game losing streak. They lead Prairie View A&M 34-32.
Artie's, feed your happy.
Welcome back to the KFC Yum Center. We have some holiday hoops for you and a close one in our first of 3 games this afternoon in the Wade Houston Tip-Off Classic. Evansville leading Prairie View A&M 34-32. The Purple Aces looking for their first win since December of 2019. This tournament named after Wade Houston, the former U of L player and assistant coach. So let's hear from Wade Houston. Here he is with our own Jody Demling.
I'm Jody Demling, and I am honored to be here today with a very special guest, the namesake for the Wade Houston Tip-Off Classic. Wade Houston. Wade, first of all, thanks for letting Louisville use your name, and thanks for joining us today. What an honor it is for us to be playing this event, one of the legends of Louisville basketball. It's got to feel good to have a tournament named after you as well.
It really is, and I'm excited to see it happen. I want to see the season get started as quickly as possible. But it's an honor to have my name on this tournament, so I just hope everything goes well.
Wade, a very successful businessman, but before that, one of the legends of Louisville basketball and the Louisville basketball program, not just as a coach, but as a player, as a guy who broke down barriers throughout this program. What's it feel like to still be involved and have the University of Louisville still honor you and recognize you after all of these years?
Well, the years have gone by really, really quickly. And I can remember the first time I set foot on the campus, and when I signed, I later found out that Eddie Whitehead and Sam Smith were going to sign to play at the University of Louisville, and that was in 1962. So Coach John Dromo and Coach Hickman started to recruit me in 1961, and I came on campus to visit and went out to Freedom Hall, and I had never been so blown away with the facility in my life. And at the time, I think Freedom Hall was one of the largest indoor arenas in the world, along with Madison Square Garden and maybe the Cow Palace in San Francisco. But when I walked into that place and just imagined that I'd be playing basketball in such a huge and noted arena, I got excited, and it went by fast. So playing here and then later on the coaching here was just kind of it capped off everything that I had done as a player, and just had so many great experiences, so many great coaches, so many great supporters, and just loved the experience.
Wade, you mentioned Sam Smith and Eddie Whitehead. You guys were the first three African Americans to sign with Louisville basketball. You were the first on a scholarship at Louisville. For Louisville, to the program and for what you guys did to help so many African American kids who still benefit from that today, what does that make you feel like 60 years later?
It feels great. It feels like you've been a part of something special. And I can remember, again, the first time I walked on campus, I was introduced to Lenny Lyles and Ernie Green and football players who have been here since the mid-'50s. And you have to remember that segregation was the law of the land in most places. You know, where I came from in East Tennessee in the 1940s and 50s when I grew up, that was the law. You know, so I had no idea what I was really getting into. I just knew I liked the place. I liked Coach Dromo and Coach Hickman. But to be a part of that and to see it grow from just playing as a freshman on the freshman team and then playing in NCAA tournaments and just to see what it evolved into was just really good for me.
All right, Wade Houston, again, we appreciate it. Namesake of the tournament. You won a state championship as a coach with Male High School in 1975. What a great team that was with Darrell Griffith. Part of two NCAA championship teams as assistant coach here at Louisville, and also part of two other Final Four teams. One last quick comment. How did Vince Tyree and the Louisville folks get you to go with this name on this tournament thing for you? Was it just something that he said, hey, we're going to do this? And you were like, yeah, sure, let's do that.
Well, you know, actually, we had put together a small group called Memory Lane, and we were working on doing something to honor Wes Unseld when he passed away. So I called Vince just to get his ideas, his thoughts on what we were trying to do. And he said, that's great. It's great, but I have something in mind that I'll let you know about in a day or so. So in addition to helping us to think about what we wanted to do with Wes, he called me back and said, before we do this, he said, I would like to offer something to you. Not offer, I just like to suggest that we use your name on this tournament. I was kind of surprised. I said, you know, I mean, I'm just here. I'm just an old fan, an old player. So when he told me, I was surprised and then honored because I got so many phone calls from people from all over the country just saying congratulations. So I guess it's worthwhile just to be a part of this after I heard so many people congratulate me for being a part of it. So it's been fun.
One of the legends of Louisville basketball program, Wade Houston, we appreciate it. Thanks for the interview, and thanks for letting us use your name on this tournament.
So we can give you the mode to vibe out. Turn on tip-off mode to get game ready with uninterrupted radio on Pandora.
Welcome back to our coverage of the Wade Houston Tip-Off Classic. Game number 1 of 3 on the day at the KFC Center, Evansville, with a halftime lead on Prairie View A&M, 34-32. And Kent Taylor and Jeff Greer here. And Jeff, the Purple Aces came out on fire.
Absolutely, guns a-blazing. Everything was open for them, getting a bunch of good corner threes, good passing. Went cold for a little bit, Kent, but those early threes gave them a nice early boost.
And then Prairie View A&M battled back into it. They started realizing that they could maybe beat a few of these Purple Aces off the dribble. They were able to get in the lane and get some easy ones. They took the lead. Then Evansville came back, and then they were able to hit some threes too.
Yeah, both teams shooting really well from distance, but it's true. They found a lot of pay dirt inside, getting to the tin and creating off the bounce. They've done a nice job on the offensive glass, Prairie View A&M as well.
The story of this one, though, really is probably all the foul trouble. We had a total of 24 fouls called in this one, including that young man, Shamar Gibbons. He has 3 personal fouls and had 3 personal fouls when he made that very basket. As we take a look at the stats, the Purple Aces, 12 of 26 from the field after shooting 14 of 47 in their opening loss to Louisville. Prairie View A&M, 12 of 34. And what jumps out to you there, Jeff?
Well, definitely the three-point shooting and the turnovers. For both teams, not great three-point shooting teams last season, but this kind of shooting today really helps them. Prairie View A&M obviously dipping a little bit down to 33%. But then turnovers, Evansville has been able to force Prairie View into some mistakes there that have created some scoring opportunities for them. And Prairie View, a team that loves to turn you over, get out in transition, hasn't been able to do that as much as they would like to.
And Evansville with 7 assists in the first half of this game. That is 1 more than they had in the entire game in their opening loss to Louisville. Evansville trying to snap that losing streak on the banks of the Ohio River. Back with second half action after this.
Hope you chill out. Turn on post-game mode for laid-back listening with uninterrupted radio on Pandora.
The Wade Houston Tip-Off Classic rolls on in the bubble at the KFC Yum Center. This is the 3rd game. Little Rock by 5 over Prairie View A&M in the opener. Louisville by 35 over Evansville in game number 2. And right now, at the half, Evansville a 2-point lead over Prairie View A&M in game number 3. And the first of 3, as you can see on the schedule for today, Seton Hall, Louisville, and UNC Greensboro, Little Rock to follow. Kent Taylor along with Jeff Greer. And Jeff, here we go. We'll see if Evansville can snap this 20-game losing streak.
Absolutely. Just keep handling the ball well, take care of it. Keep hitting your open looks, and they should be in good shape to get one right away there, Kent.
Trey Hall right to the basket for a quick 2 to extend that lead to 4. And I think this is pretty much going to come down to who can keep their players in the game, because as we mentioned a minute ago, both teams with 12 personal fouls in that first half and some serious foul trouble. Fate Williams with the quick turnover for Prairie View A&M, but he sat most of that first half with 2 fouls after scoring 18 in the Panthers opener the other day. Somebody told Trey Hall to shoot at halftime, I think.
He had a nice game. 8.6 boards.
Fate Williams has not scored after that impressive opener. Got a 16-footer, comes off, and Evan Coleman grabs the rebound for Evansville. He also, Coleman, after 10 points in their opener, he got 2 pretty quick fouls in the first half.
It just interrupts everything for your team if you've got people in foul trouble, especially key players. Your Prairie View, you want to be able to turn up the pressure. When you're Evansville, you want to space the floor with your bigs and shoot threes, and not Evan Coleman playing is a big miss for them.
I think that is going to be on Juwan Daniels. Let's see. If it is, that'll be his 3rd. No, it's on Paris. That's Paris's first foul, which is pretty amazing that you could have played some time in this game and not have picked up a personal foul. Jax Levich to throw it in, and he gets it in to give it to the part, almost gets it in, deflected. Gibbons able to come up with it. Now they have a little bit of an advantage, and
good recovery by Prairie View.
Frederking had 10 points in the first half to lead Evansville. His 3-pointer misses. He's missed 2 quick shots. Darrell Roberts leads the Panthers with 7 first half points, and that is going to be the 3rd personal foul. That was a pretty easy call there on Fate Williams.
Yeah, it goes back to what we were talking about in the first half. You can't extend your arm like that when you're dribbling and trying to take someone on. You can't create space with your arm. You're going to get whistled. They've been calling it all afternoon, and right in front of the referee, too. Pretty easy. Fate Williams just hasn't been able to get into any sort of rhythm today.
Jock Hughes checks in the game for Fate Williams. Hughes has not hit a shot yet. He's 0 for 1 for the field after hitting every shot he took in their open.
And bagged a couple of threes. They had 3 different guys pop up at different times to be three-point shooting threats, and Hughes was one of them.
And then Hughes is going to pick up a quick foul as he couldn't quite move his feet fast enough to keep Jax Levitch from getting the baseline. It's also the first personal on Hughes, but already the 3rd team foul here on Prairie View, just a little over 2 minutes into this second half. Freder King to Gibbons, back to Freder King. Nice pass inside to Trey Hall, but he is rejected by Briscoe inside, and it'll be Prairie View ball.
Well, great ball movement for Evansville and a nice cut there from Hall, but an equally good defensive return from Briscoe to swat that away. Stayed straight up. Good defensive recovery there from Prairie View.
Gambrell in the lane, able to gather himself and put it up and in to get them back within 2. Gambrell, the Western Kentucky transfer, the toppers with a big one today in Sioux Falls, South Dakota against West Virginia. And then Western Kentucky will be here in the bubble for a couple games as well. Nice pass down low. Oh, and another rejection by Briscoe as Hall tried to go up for the dunk, but he's called for the foul, and Trey Hall will go to the line for a couple of free throws.
A meeting of the minds at the 10 there, Kent. Good cut again, backdoor from Trey Hall. But this time, Briscoe was not able to get himself in a good enough position. He was having to come across, whacked him with his body, and may have had some help there from Edgar too with the contact. But nice cut there from Trey Hall off the ball.
Levitch with a nice look too.
Yeah, nice pass, good find. Trey Hall really active on the offensive end. He hasn't shot it great, just 3 of 12, but 8 points, 6 rebounds, and showing you his confidence with cutting, with trying to get to the basket. He's got that length and athleticism.
Evansville just 5 of 10 from the free throw line today. That is clearly a struggle. 5 of 11 now, something maybe you might want to work on a little in practice. 10 for 21 in their opener the other day in the loss to Louisville.
It's a continuation of last year's struggles.
Well, and with all the fouls that have already been called in this game, you have to figure that's going to be a pretty big factor down the stretch as well, because they're going to get some opportunities at the stretch.
Absolutely. You got to get the ball in the hands of your free throw shooters then. And make sure you see this thing out if you're in the lead. Got a long way to go there until we get to that point.
Looks like Freder King knows he had 10 points in the first half. He's taken 3 quick shots and been short on all of them here early in the second. Gibbons has his pocket picked by Gambrell, and he's going to go, or he tried to go all the way to the basket. I'm not sure he didn't just lose that. They're going to say it was deflected off of Gibbons, but maybe Gibbons is arguing for the foul there. As Gage Bobe checks in, and Trey Hall will head to the Evansville bench.
Something that was a real problem for Prairie View last year. They turned the ball over a lot, and a lot of them were non-steal turnovers. That means just giveaways.
Just unforced errors.
Unforced errors by Prairie View. They've got to do a better job of that. That's something Byron Smith talked about coming into this tournament.
Broken blocks Gambrell. Yeah, Fade Williams had 7 turnovers in their opener alone. Evansville, a 36-34 lead. Purple Aces just looking for a win.
Game ready with uninterrupted radio on Pandora.
Here's a look at the Missouri Valley preseason poll, and the Evansville Purple Aces, after failing to win a league game last season, they are picked to finish 10th and last in the league again this year.
It's actually a pretty solid Valley this year. Northern Iowa has dropped its first 2 games, 0-2, close ones. including to Western Kentucky here, but are supposed to have a really good team. Loyola Chicago, we know, really tough team as well. And then Drake down there in 7th just beat Kansas State to start their season. So maybe we were underrating the
Missouri
Bulldogs.
Valley. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
And Northern Iowa hit 23 pointers in that loss to Western Kentucky. We saw Southern Illinois. Southern Illinois was actually supposed to be in this tournament, and they had a positive COVID test, had to drop out. That's what brought Evansville in just a couple of weeks ago, and that's something we're going to see throughout the year, is just constant change, teams looking for opponents to try to make up games as games are canceled. The day before, we've seen the Louisville women here deal with it quite a bit already.
That's crazy, and coaches just keep talking about how they just don't know what their schedule is going to be. What a bizarre feeling. Usually these things are sealed up by the end of the summer.
Just beating the shot clock, but Jock Hughes can't get that one to go. A little defensive pressure in the backcourt. Givens able to come away with it. He's going to, that's 10 seconds. I was going to say he's not going to get it over midcourt. He was not aware, but after the deflection, the clock had started, and he was not able to get it past midcourt.
Yeah, that's unforgivable if you're a coach. You got to always be aware as a point guard, and you could see immediately Givens looking at the staff and understanding what just happened. You can't second guess yourself. You can't be too overconfident. You got to look at the clock and make sure you know what's going on so you can get across that timeline.
Fate Williams checks back in with his 3 fouls. Again, he is scoreless after 18 points in their opener. Nice little dish to Briscoe. He turns in the lane, and he walked in the lane. So yet another turnover. We saw Todd Licklider and one of his assistants, Logan Ballman, who was a manager and a video coordinator and a walk-on player, did a little bit of everything here at Louisville a few years ago, including, there is Logan Bauman. He's a Sports Illustrated cover boy, along with Kevin Ware. Logan was right there.
One of the nicest folks you're going to come across. Really smart young coach.
Some pressure in the backcourt real quick, and we're going to get a quick timeout after Bo Bush trapped there. Evansville tries to regroup and hold on to this lead as they continue to lead Prairie View A&M. 36-34, just over 15 minutes to play. Just a little over 15 minutes left to play here in the first of 3 games in the KFC Yum Center on this Thanksgiving weekend Friday. It's not just about college football. It's also college basketball. Opening week for the college basketball season in this very strange 2020, and 3 games. The highlight game of the day coming up at 4 o'clock on ESPN2, Seton Hall and Louisville. But right now we've got a good one for you. Evansville leading Prairie View A&M, trying to get the ball across half court. Bob almost turned it over, but Givens able to come up with it as the Purple Aces lead the Panthers by 2 now, just under 15 to play.
We've done a nice job against the pressure today, Ken. It's been pretty impressive. Little Rock really struggled against Prairie View's press.
Levitch with another nice find, but Gilgis Alexander can't knock down the corner 3, and here's Prairie View with a chance to tie or take the lead. They are just 4 of 13 from 3 here so far this afternoon. Oh, a nice drive and a nice dish, and the finish inside by Dwayne Cox to tie us up at 36.
I think both of these teams are pretty eager to get that first win here in the bubble.
Gambrell able to get in the paint. Bubba all the way to the basket, and he switched over to his left hand and got it up and in. Wasn't the prettiest thing, but it'll work.
It'll work. It's that baseline. He had all sorts of real estate in front of him and took it. Solid finish at the 10 for Evansville, breaking that pressure and getting an easy bucket.
Gambrell with a little step back, but he can't get that to rattle in as it rattles out. And here comes Givens. Evansville looking to build on their lead. And at least, I don't want to jinx it, but the first 6.5 minutes here of the second half, the fouling has seemed to have subsided somewhat. Evansville has not committed one yet. Levitch able to save that one on the baseline. Givens to Coleman, over to Bulb. He made the layup. Can he make the three? No. And Levitch with the offensive rebound to keep the possession alive.
Great ball movement and got a good look at it.
Givens has a wide open lane. He takes advantage of it. Lays it up and in for a 40-36 Purple Aces lead.
Prairie View just hasn't really been able to consistently attack the rim here in the second half yet. It's got to get back to doing what was working in that first half.
Cox able to get all the way to the basket. Might have taken an extra step or two, but
who's counting?
Got by Levitch and scored.
Dwayne Cox, a nice little player. Byron Smith says he doesn't really have a position. He's just a good, hard-working player, and you can see there he's got some quickness to him getting in the lane.
You see the plexiglass behind the benches here in what is a completely different setup in the KFC Yum Center for this entire tournament. Nice kick. Levitch will try the three, and he hits it. Just his second three of the season. His only other one came at the buzzer at halftime, just before halftime, in their opening game loss to Louisville, and that lead is now 5. And Coleman with the block, and he's going to get called for a foul. He did not agree with that.
Man, Jax Levitch, career 37% three-point shooter. That's what Evansville wants him to do. He's going to get looks. Used to play with Ray Spalding and Dwayne Sutton, a couple of kids who ended up at Louisville in their AAU teams. Of course, as we mentioned earlier, his brother playing at Louisville.
Now the head coach at North Oldham.
That's right. But
the babyface assassin.
That's true. That is his nickname.
Darrell Roberts knocks in the first free throw.
He had such a hot start to this game, Darrell Roberts. Getting back to the line is a good way to re-engage a little bit offensively. Had the three, hit a couple yesterday, or on Wednesday, excuse me. Hit 3 on Wednesday. And a chance to be leading scorer for Prairie View with this free throw.
Gets them back within 3. That was the third personal foul, by the way, on Coleman, who has not been able to get going today. They hit an early 3 after 10 points in their opener, and only has 4 points and 3 fouls. Alex Matthews in the lane, over to Freder King, who hasn't scored in this half either. Matthews to the basket, and he draws the foul, and will get 2 free throws out of it. The Purple Aces holding on to a slim lead. How about Mr. Bobe to the basket? They lead it 43-40.
Hardee's. Feed your happy.
All right, we are back in the KFC Yum Center. This is the first of 3 games. Game number 2 at 4 o'clock on ESPN2. Seton Hall, the Pirates opener, after they had to shut down for a couple weeks after a positive COVID test. And Jeff, they're going to come in here and battle a Louisville team that was impressive after a slow start against Evansville the other day.
Absolutely, really enticing matchup. Don't quite know what to make of Seton Hall just yet. Life after Miles Powell, of course, is going to be always a big challenge, but Louisville looks strong. Got a nice game from Samuel Williamson coming back from the knee injury. Carleek Jones, obviously, the Radford graduate transfer, looked electric. David Johnson wasn't able to do his thing just because of foul trouble like we talked about earlier. But it should be a really nice matchup between those two teams. And the nightcapper is enticing too. Little Rock and UNC Greensboro. That's another really good matchup. So it's been a great game here already, Kent, and then we got 2 more after this.
Yeah, UNC Greensboro, a talented team with maybe the best player in this tournament.
Yeah, Isaiah Miller, just an electric defensive player. Doesn't shoot it great. Not a super efficient offensive player, but catches the eye. SoCon Player of the Year, just a really dynamite player. So should be a lot of fun to see him in this event.
Alex Matthews misses the first of 2 free throws. Panthers thinking that might have been 1 and a bonus, but they only have 5 team fouls, which is pretty amazing here in the second half so far. And Evansville with just 1 personal foul after both teams had 12 each. And Matthews misses both. You know, I talked about the free throw shooting. They've obviously struggled from the line, and they figure to get some opportunities here down the stretch. And if you want to snap a 20-game losing streak, you're going to need to hit some.
Got to get better. Just 5 of 13 today.
Corner three-point try is good from Daniels. I'm sorry, that was DeJure Joseph in the game.
It's the 5th time today that this game has been tied, Kent. Shows you neither team has really ever been able to take that big of a lead outside of that early push that Evansville had up to 16-6. It's been pretty back and forth since.
Evan Coleman, though, able to put Evansville back in front with the basket inside, and he'll go to the line to try to hit a free throw. Evansville 5 for 13 from the line so far today. Again, after hitting just 10 of 21 in their opener. Coleman's free throw is up and good, and he extends their lead to 3.
They can get him going for the final 12 minutes of this one. Evansville will feel a lot better. He's been hobbled by foul trouble, but he's a good scorer for them. A nice take here, too, from Darrell Roberts.
Gets in the lane, hangs for a minute, and finishes. Looks like that foul will be on Frederking. Frederking has not scored here in the second half after getting into double figures in the first 20 minutes.
Well, it's really interesting talking to Byron Smith before this tournament, talking about his Prairie View team. He really just wasn't sure what he had, basically. He knew he had guys like Fate Williams and Linnell Henry coming back. He felt like he had guys who would give him some depth, 8, 9, 10 deep. But he basically said, look, we're going to figure out what this tournament, through this tournament, what we have. And Darrell Roberts has been a revelation for his team here. He's got 11 points today, had a great game on Wednesday in the loss to Little Rock. And with Fate Williams in foul trouble today, they've needed that scoring boost.
11 points in each of their first 2 games already. Frederking tries to get it to Coleman, but it's deflected by Briscoe, and Frederking comes up with it. Givens, Matthews needed about 1 more pass there. I think that shot might have been just a little early.
It's a good find by Givens, but they just haven't been able to get the 3 to fall the way they did in that first half.
Yeah, I'm not sure they've passed like they did those first couple possessions, and that may well be the difference as Roberts is able to get the jumper to go in the lane, and he now has 13 points, a game-high 13 points, and Prairie View has a 1-point lead, and we'll see, you know, a foul on a 3 in the corner, and Frederking's going to shoot 3 free throws as Hughes got him. You have to wonder if it's going to get in these Evansville kids' heads a little bit down the stretch here, Jeff. They haven't won in so long. There has to be some kind of a mental aspect to that as well.
Absolutely.
Trying to get over the hump.
Absolutely. It is something that sticks with you, and that's where you need guys to be your leaders, your guys who are used to playing in games, guys like Shamar Givens, this guy Noah Frederking, guys who are confident, who have played a lot of basketball, to be the guys to make shots, to coolly handle the full court pressure, all of the little things that add up to a win. And you're seeing here right away, Frederking showing you he's that senior. This is a kid who's got set the career record for field goals made in Illinois high school history.
Well, there haven't been that many good players in Illinois.
Not that many. I mean, that's crazy. But he's a streaky shooter. He's shown today he can hit it from distance, and those are some big free throws for Evansville.
Chicago. Nobody's ever come out of Chicago.
Never heard of it.
Oh, the nice pass inside, and how about Briscoe with the emphatic throwdown to tie us up, and we've got a new game. 10 minutes to play here in the KFC Yum Center. We're all even at 49.
A really nice diamond for the slam there. Really nice from Prairie View.
All inside to Coleman. He kicks it over to Givens. Givens gets in the lane and gets the shot up and over Briscoe, but unable to make it.
It's a tough shot there. I think could have gotten something a little bit more. Givens may have been able to dribble through there and reset. Look at this guy, he's cooking.
It's deflection, nice pass inside to Briscoe. He, nice and patient, puts it up with the left hand.
Well, if Darrell Roberts can't do it with the 3-ball, he can do it with a dime there. Really nice pass in. And you're right, Briscoe has been a nice player off the bench, 6 points, 6 boards for Prairie View, and showing he can score around the rim.
You wonder if Prairie View's going to go back with Fate Williams at any point. Again, their leading scorer in their opener. He's been in foul trouble throughout this afternoon, has not scored yet. And we've only seen him really briefly here in the second half.
30 bench points for Prairie View, and that just shows you what Byron Smith thinks he's got in this group. Go 10 deep.
That's going to be a foul on Jax Levitch. How about Gerota Briscoe in the afternoon he's having on the nice dish there from Darrell Roberts.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please, Kent. Thunder dunk from Briscoe. Nice find from Roberts. But that's what you need in games like this. Look, they've 5 of 16 from 3, having some issues with turnovers. You need guys to rise up in certain situations and help you out. Darrell Roberts, of course, has led the way, but Briscoe, Jeremiah Gambrell has helped out at times, Jawan Daniels, Dwayne Cox, they've had a bunch of contributors, and that's the way you win games like this.
But de jure, Joseph with the quick turnover there on the baseline, and Evansville's going to get a chance to tie it up here or take the lead. Frederking can't get the 3 to go. Linnell Henry hasn't seen a lot of action here in the second half either for Prairie View. He's got 4 personal fouls, and he'll probably be out for the next, I would think relatively soon, we may see them go back to him.
Yeah, he and Fate Williams are 2 veteran guys. They expect them to be their leaders this year, so they really should see them soon.
Got very little from either one today. Oh, the nice dish inside. It didn't look like Daniels knew what he wanted to do with that. He didn't go up to try and get it that aggressively, and ended up having it taken away from him. We're going to get a foul called on the screen there on Coleman, and that's going to be his 4th foul. Little foul trouble here. The Aces trying to hang in it, but right now they trail the Panthers 51-49. Under 8 to play in the KFC.
Game ready with uninterrupted radio on Pandora.
All right, the KFC Yum Center hosting the Wade Houston Tip-Off Classic, and there are, of course, some COVID protocols in the arenas. You see all the fans very well spread out this afternoon. 15% capacity, so it'll be about 3,000 fans for the game this afternoon between Seton Hall and Louisville. There are temperature checks upon entry, face coverings required, physical distancing strictly enforced. 15 feet between the benches and the spectators. As you see that plexiglass behind the 2 benches, you see the fans with their face coverings, and the seats are actually roped off, as you can see in certain sections, so the fans can't sit too close to each other.
Well, it's the best way we can do this to get this event in, and I'm excited that even anyone's allowed to get in to see some of these games. One thing to note also, Kent, the cameras have changed a little bit, their view, because of COVID protocols as well. It's a little bit different than what folks are used to seeing, but I will take any basketball at any view.
Now, we are spoiled here because the bank of cameras is right behind. There you see it right behind the very first, the lower bowl of the arena, and now the camera's way up in the upper level of the arena, so that's why the shot seems to be, it is a little wider than the shot you're used to from the KFC Yum Center. And also, the concession stand's closed.
Brutal. Absolutely
good reason
brutal.
to join us on ESPN3 for the broadcast when you can. Prairie View with the ball. A 2-point lead now. Less than 7.5 minutes to play. Both these teams looking for their first win of the season. Evansville looking for their first win of the calendar year. Inside battle, a little offensive rebound, but Roberts can't finish it. And the smallest guy on the court, Givens, comes up with the rebound. Trey Hall getting aggressive. Not the best shot he's taken this afternoon. He's going to end up with Frederick King with a wide open three, and Evansville's back in front.
Well, it's been a long time coming from three-point range for Evansville. They started 4 of 4, but just 3 of their last 18, but that's a huge one from Frederick King to get back in the lead.
Frederick King with 6 quick points, fouled on a 3, hit all 3 free throws, and then drains with a triple. So he now has 16, 6 quick second-half points after 10 in the first half. He's got a game-high 16, and Evansville is back in front with the ball. And again, it has been 343 days since the Purple Aces have won a basketball game. Frederick King with the heat check, misses Hall the rebound. Frederick King, the nice cut in the lane, but he is rejected by Roberts. Evansville retains possession. Shot clock now at 15.
Evansville doing its job on the offensive glass.
Oh, Givenson Hall, a little miscommunication.
So you got to say here, though, if you're Evansville, you're up 52-51. And a big reason for that is Prairie View has had to play a half-court game against them. Now, that's not to say Prairie View can't play half-court by any stretch, but Prairie View wants to be playing the whole 94 feet, pressing you, speeding you up, and Evansville has been able to, a lot of offensive possessions, slow things down, move the ball, space things out, and it really kind of makes it a lot more difficult for Prairie View to get those deflections that they're looking for.
Fade Williams still looking for his first basket. He'll get a chance to get his first points as he is fouled. But after 18 points in the opener, the 6'2 junior from Dickinson, Texas, will step to the line, trying to get in the scorebook for the first time, and if he can hit them both, to give Prairie View a lead here.
Came on strong at the end of last season, started the last 2 games. Actually had 6 games in the second portion of SWAC play where he had 5+ assists, so kind of emerged as a big passing guy to go with his usual calling card, which is defense. But like you said, Kent, he had 9 buckets on Wednesday, 18 points. He was their #1 go-to offensive player, and he just hasn't been able to get it going today because of the foul trouble.
He did not attempt a free throw. Actually, they only shot 4 free throws in their opener, but he did not attempt one, but he hits them both here, and they are now up by 1, 53-52. We saw Roberts head to the bench. He has a team-high 13 points for the Panthers. We'll see how long a break he gets, maybe till under that 4-minute timeout. Trey Hall off the screen from Matthews. He's trapped in the corner and turns the ball over.
2 straight possessions. That's where a freshman learns a little bit, dribbling into trouble areas.
Oh, Williams, I'm not sure if he meant to do that, but he was able to get it to Cox, who's fouled and will go to the line with a chance to extend the lead. And Trey Hall's going to get a technical. I'm guessing he's arguing he got fouled in the corner down there.
I think he's frustrated with the foul call, but learning moment for him. He's been really strong for them today, getting underneath the basket, cutting, rebounding, 8 points, 8 boards. But the last couple possessions, dribbled into short corner traps, and just there lets his frustration get the best of him. But Evansville defensively has done a nice job, for the most part, of really running Prairie View off the line and making them have to score tough baskets. But in the thick of it there, a foul call frustrating Trey Hall.
Juwan Daniels misses the first free throw and hits the second to extend the Prairie View lead to 54-52. And now Dwayne Cox will step to the line for 2 more free throws and a chance for the Panthers to extend the lead. 5:16 left to play. Todd Licklider talking with Trey Hall. Yeah, I'm guessing it was just a combination of 2 things. The trap and turnover, 2 bad possessions in a row for him offensively, and then he gets the call in the lane, and Cox knocks in the first free throw.
It's a key moment, though, Kent. We kept talking about it with Evansville, learning how to win in tough situations. Okay, so you get the
you
technical.
don't get a technical.
Well, yeah, you could be down 3 or 4 points here. That's a key. This is a key moment for their team. They got to have a patient offensive possession. Box out.
In the end, they came out of that not too bad, though,
yeah,
because they only hit 2 of the 4 free throws. So had Cox knocked them both down, you'd be in the same situation here. So the technical maybe not as costly as it could have been for Evansville, down 3 here.
Just missed Enaruma wide open under the basket.
Freder King 3 of 9 from 3. He is the only Evansville player who's hit more than 1 in the game today. Givens gets all the way to the basket but can't put it up. And then Matthews, the offensive rebound, and kicks it out to Freder King, and he can't hit the 3. And where are we going to get a foul here? Inside on Matthews?
That's what it looks like, but extra hustle there and a good find. You like your chances when Freder King's firing it from 3.
I thought it was like a beat late, though, getting him the ball. Matthews looked like he got the rebound, and then he hesitated before kicking it out to Freder King. And he still got a pretty good look, though. I think they would take that. He's now, though, 3 for 10 from 3. And they're 7 for 24 from distance after starting off red hot, 4 for 4.
Just one of their last 10, too, for Evansville. They've got to find a way to get an easy basket. They did get inside there, got some penetration, but they've got to get some easy points.
Juwan Daniels now 6 of 7 from the line this afternoon. He has 11 points, second only to Robertson for the Prairie View Panthers.
Harlem, New York native. He's had a nice game today.
It's the second free throw, so now 12 points, 3 of 4 free throws there for him in that little stretch, and they have increased the lead to 57-52, and gut check time now for the Purple Aces.
And if you're Prairie View A&M, this is what your calling card was last year. You won your league by winning a lot of close games. These guys have to prove it.
Givens with the giveaway, and Williams with a great behind-the-back pass, and Briscoe is there for the finish at a 59-52 Prairie View. Givens has been turning the ball over at a pretty alarming rate in their last couple games.
Yeah, it's not what he's used to. He's been one of the better assist-to-turnover guys in the Missouri Valley, but how about the pass from Fate Williams, a little gift on Black Friday?
Williams again on the break, this time all the way himself up and in. The crafty finish, and all of a sudden the Panthers are pulling away a 10-0 run in less than 2 minutes, and they lead 61-52 here.
Can't think of a better way for Fate Williams to make his first field goal of this game than to split the defenders and get a lay-in in transition.
Freder King to the basket, somehow got that up and over Briscoe, and Todd Licklater is going to take a timeout. The wheels coming off a little bit for the Purple Aces, though. Prairie View, Fate Williams. How about this dish, Jeff?
Woo! It's beautiful.
Radio on Pandora.
All right, we are just a little over an hour away from game number 2 in the KFC Yum Center on this Thanksgiving holiday weekend, Friday. Louisville and Seton Hall at 4 o'clock on ESPN2. And Jeff, I think Chris Mock's going to find out a little bit of something about his team this year, even though he's got some pretty key pieces. Malik Williams is maybe their most important player, who's out for up to 12 weeks. And Charles Midland, the San Francisco transfer, out as well.
Yeah, that's a big couple of misses. It was huge to get Samuel Williamson back into practice and get him playing. He had a nice game. Josh Nickelberry, another guy who's perimeter defender for them, who's out. But this is quite the challenge here between Seton Hall, as you see there today. Prairie View A&M is going to give them a lot of defensive pressure on Sunday, but then Western Kentucky and UNC Greensboro next week both. Plenty to learn and discover about your team in the next week.
Yeah, you're going to see some NCAA tournament caliber teams here over the next week. And right now, Prairie View with a 61-54 lead. And we talked about would Evansville would they remember how to win? What would happen in a close game down the stretch? Well, so far they've turned the ball over 4 times in just over the last 3 minutes. And here comes Fate Williams as he has made his impact on the game in the last couple of minutes with a nice assist and then a nice drive to the basket as they lead by 7. Important possession for Evansville to get a stop. And they cannot. Darrell Roberts again.
The guy has been all over them offensively. 6 of 13, 15 points. Just flowing with confidence. 3 assists, too. It's a killer shot there, too, off the timeout.
Short of finding a hot streak like they did in the very beginning of this game, it's going to be tough for the Purple Aces to get back in this unless they can knock down some quick threes. Frederik King to Gildas Alexander to Coleman, and Givens is going to try the 3, and he can't hit it. We mentioned he was tops in the Missouri Valley Conference in assist-to-turnover ratio last year to start this season. In their first 2 games, 8 turnovers and just 1 assist. And that's one of the reasons. Turnovers like not getting it over half court in 10 seconds, things like that.
Absolutely, and he'll be disappointed with that. He knows he can play better than that, but Evansville clearly still trying to figure out what they have. And this is another learning experience for them. Todd Licklider doing the best he can with a really rough offseason.
Gildas Alexander to Givens. He gets in the lane, and that was close. In the NBA, it definitely would have counted, but they'll call it on the floor, and Givens will at least get a chance to shoot some free throws.
I liked how Darrell Roberts made a point on the floor where he thought the foul was committed so that the basket didn't count. Helpful for the referees, I'm sure.
Givens 1 of 2 from the line so far today. He's 1 in the bonus, and he'll get the second free throw as Evansville cuts the lead to 8. 2 minutes to play. They have hit 7 threes in this game, Jeff, but for them to go on a streak would seem unlikely since 4 of those 7 came right at the very beginning of the game.
Yeah, since then, 3 of 21 from 3, but Kent, you've mentioned it a few times also, 10 of 18 from the free throw line as the 19th is coming here.
Yeah, that's going to be a problem, too.
It's the difference in the game.
Right.
You got to make your free throws. They were good at them last year, 73% from the line, but got to be better in a tight game.
I think that spoke to maybe having some different guys shooting them.
Yeah, that's definitely a possibility.
Fate Williams gets by Givens. Shot clock down to 7. You're going to need to put something up. Gambrell doesn't mind shooting it. Givens all the way to the basket. Did he not? He got it to Bowman. Then Trey Hall misses. How about Givens inside getting the rebound?
A little explosion off the floor, but that's a bad giveaway.
Just threw it right to him. Gambrell didn't even have to do anything. Trey Hall threw it right to him. And at this point, it appears as if Evansville is on its way to its 21st consecutive loss.
Got to give Prairie View credit. They've really put this game on ice. They've done a really good job defensively, amping up the pressure, getting deflections and steals. And then offensively, I know they haven't scored now in a little bit, but they've been able to get to the free throw line. They've been able to get guys like Darrell Roberts some looks. Fate Williams has been really nice in transition the final few minutes, and you see him going to the line here. That's how you see out wins. And that's the difference between Prairie View and Evansville right now in this game.
It was 52-51, Evansville. And since then, a 12-4 run as Prairie View has taken control of this one. And Givens gets all the way to the basket. I was going to say, looked like he got fouled there, and he's going to get a chance for a three-point play. And you might as well, at this point in the game, let him go ahead and have that layup.
Yeah, that's a silly foul. It was Fate Williams. He's got to know better. The junior guard, he's been in your program a lot, played a lot of games. It's hard when you're a good defender like Williams is to give up on a possession, but in that moment, you're up 7, under a minute just give the layup and get the ball back.
He'll head to the bench with his fourth personal foul. Linnell Henry has been out most of this half. We haven't even, he never came back in the game with his 4 personal fouls. We saw him sitting over on the bench. And Prairie View a little trouble handling the pressure from Evansville. So the Purple Aces showing a little fight here with 47.7 seconds left to go. Back within 4. Just trying to get over the hump and snap this losing streak that dates back to December 21st of 2019. And Jeff, I know we're all looking forward to everything ended so abruptly on March 12th earlier this year, and we just hopefully can get to March 14th. We didn't have a selection Sunday. And the NCAA going to do the bubble in Indianapolis. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's a good idea. I think it gives you hopefully enough time to be able to make it airtight, figure out how to get through it. But they've got to have a tournament. I mean, they have to have one this year. And I think everyone has been so desperate for it that they've got to figure out a way to do it right.
What in the world was that? Prairie View Givens with the steal, and Evansville says, wait a minute, Alex Matthews from the corner. Oh, he missed it. That would have really made it interesting.
Golden opportunity for Prairie View, or for Evansville, missing out on that 3. It was a good look in the corner, too, for Alex Matthews, the Elizabethtown, Kentucky native. He'll want that one back. But Prairie View, look, this is a team that does not have, coming into this season, the guy who they think is going to be their point guard, and we'll see if they can get a couple of their options clearing waivers.
Cam Mack and Eric Hester will be their 2 best players.
Pretty good players, yeah. And in the meantime, as Byron Smith said, look, we don't really have a bona fide point guard who we can rely on right away, and that's why you see guys like Damari Paris, Dwayne Cox is playing a lot, Fate Williams, all ball handlers, but guys who need to grow in the role. And so you've got to have options like that when you're trying to break the press here. Final 40 seconds or so. I'm sure Byron Smith would like it to be a little bit smoother.
And he's got Fate Williams on the bench with his 4 fouls, even with less than a minute to go in the game, as they did try to get it in there. Evansville needs to get a shot up here, deflected out of bounds by Cox, but 5-point game, 24.2 seconds left to play. Mentioning that bubble in Indianapolis, though, if any city can do it with Hinkle Fieldhouse, with Lucas Oil Stadium, with Bankers Life Fieldhouse, all within really a couple miles of each other.
Yeah, you'd hope so. That's where I love having events there, and hopefully they'll be able to do it.
If you can get a hotel room. Frieder King inside, and for some reason, he's fouled. Darrell Roberts fouls him with 16.8 seconds left in a 5-point game.
Byron Smith was an assistant under Clyde Drexler and Mark Turgeon.
Globetrotters coach.
Globetrotters coach. He's had a lot of success, played for Houston too, and he's going to be, I'm sure, telling his guys, hey, when it's a close game in the final few minutes, in the final minute, and you're up 7-8 points, do not foul. You are giving them free points here late in the game.
Frieder King takes advantage. He now has 19 points. 7 off his career high, and Prairie View with the foul here. This is starting to get interesting. A 3-point game.
Got to make your free throws if you're Prairie View. It's pretty straightforward.
Gambrell will step to the line. He has not attempted a free throw today. Did not attempt one in their opener. The Western Kentucky transfer. Front of the iron on the first. This one extremely important in a 3-point game with 15.3 seconds left. And that one could have been a little nerves. We'll see if he's able to get this one up and over the front of the rim.
The door remains open, Kent. Got to make this one. If you don't, I think I want to see Evansville try to find Frieder King.
They've got enough time, though, to where they don't have to go for the 3 here. I'm not sure I wouldn't drive in and get a 2. The way Givens is taking his time. Oh, and it's deflected away and out of bounds. Cox almost came up with a steal. Now at 7 points. I think they could have gone right down. And I tell you what, the way Prairie View's been playing, they might have gotten fouled in the layup. But at this point, you almost have to go for the three, don't you, with 7.2 seconds left?
Yeah, they're out of timeouts, Evansville. I wonder if that's what they were thinking, is just go for the three. And Prairie View calling the timeout to get things set up, I believe.
To need a three. They've hit 7 of 26 in the game here this afternoon after starting 4 for 4. Do you foul here if you're Prairie View, Jeff?
Oh, I go back and forth. I think you foul if Fred or King catches it, but other than that, I think you let him run it.
I don't know that you're afraid of anyone else. Yeah, shooting it. Even Fred or King is just 3 for 10 from 3. They're trying to get him. The three. Givens goes to the basket. Oh, Freder King. Look, Jax Levitch for 3, and he misses it. Coleman tries to put it up and in, and that is going to do it. Freder King looked like he might have had a look. Levitch misses the 3 from the corner, and Evansville loses for the 21st straight time as the teams are going to leave the court. No more handshakes. They just wave. Prairie View A&M wins it, so for Jeff Greer, I'm Kent Taylor saying so long from the KFC Yum Center in Louisville, Kentucky, where the final score is Prairie View A&M 64, Evansville 61. To watch this entire game on replay, as well as other games on the ESPN networks, log on to watchespn.com. Thank you, everybody, for watching. This has been a presentation of ESPN3.